Before taking you through therapy exercises and activities that you can do with your therapy putty to improve your strength and your fine motor coordination or control, I first wanted to explain to you the different parts of the hand. And this will help you to understand why you're strengthening what you're strengthening. So if you think of your hand, I want you to think of 3 parts. The first is going to be your pinky and this finger. This is where your strength comes from. And then draw a line down your hand. And these 3 fingers are where your manipulator fingers, or where the fine motor skill and coordination come into play. And then the third part of your hand is this pad. This is a sensory pad. So essentially the sensory pad is going to help you to be able to understand and navigate how much pressure or weight to put into holding an object. So for example, if I'm holding this super light brush, my hand is not going to over squeeze the brush. It's giving just enough resistance to hold it up. Versus if I'm holding a heavier weighted object, my hand, that sensory pad, gives the brain feedback and says, oh yeah, that's how much weight's supposed to be there. So back to strength though. With your strength, if you squeeze something, so if I'm squeezing this lid, if I want to squeeze this lid harder, you can really feel the strength coming in through these 2 fingers. So when we're doing therapy putty, if we're doing anything with the whole hand that includes these last two fingers, that's strength. That's improving strength. These manipulators are the fingers that I would use to, example, pick up a pen or pick up something small. I'm using the first 3 manipulator fingers. So if I'm doing therapy putty exercises that just have to do with using my manipulators, then I'm working on my fine motor coordination. And finally, that sensory pad I talked about, if I'm doing things to help put input to the pad of my hand, then I'm working on the pad. So let's get started on some exercises that you can do. So let's talk about the therapy putty. The stroke rewind therapy putty comes with 4 different types of resistance: soft, medium, hard, and hardest. And the good thing about that is if you're just starting to get return backs in your hand. So essentially we'd recommend putty for someone who's starting to get movement back in the hand, because then you can manipulate the putty to get that coordination or strength back that you need. So again, it comes in 4 different types of resistance. So if you're just starting to get movement, you're going to use soft. But if you really have a little bit more movement, you can use the hardest one. The nice thing about these containers is they're nice containers and they're actually twists. So what you want to do is you want to twist this lid rather than pull, and it comes right off. This is another actually great way to strengthen the hand, is just by practicing twisting. It's going to work on your manipulators and your forearm. Another thing is that this putty comes with 2 stimulation therapy brushes. So one of the things you always want to do when you have a stroke is to stimulate the skin, stimulate the tactile receptors of the skin by brushing, and you can put some lotion and brush before you do the putty. This helps to wake up that sensory motor strip in the brain and will really help to harness that movement. You feel something, you do something, you do something, you feel something. So let's get started on these exercises.